What's up, guys? Welcome to today's episode of the Taylor Green Media Show from our stage. Today, I want to talk about how you actually get things done, and this comes back to confidence. So if you've been listening to the last few episodes, we're talking about a lot of mindset stuff, and I can feel some of you turning it off, not listening to the next episode, but I need you to know that the number one thing to your growth is your own confidence, and it is inside your own mind. So if you're trying to hit that first $1,000, the first $10,000 month, the first $100,000 month, it is 100% based on your mind and what goes on between your ears. And I know that because I've done it. There is no difference in the process, in the sales technique of me asking for $1,000 as opposed to $50,000. The difference is I used to not be able to ask for the money because what was between my ears. And so that's just my caveat. Keep listening, guys. Do the work on yourself because it matters and it's what's going to actually change the game for you. And so I want to give you a tip on how to change the game for your mind, how to grow the confidence in yourself and not have your successes and failures tied to the outcomes of things that you have no control over. And so when you look at business, there are things we 100% control. But there are also things that we have no control over. And I see way too often we let our emotions ride and our stories about whether we were successes or failures come based on the things that we couldn't control. And so a really good example that we're all familiar with is COVID-19. None of us at any level could control COVID coming and happening. We only control how we responded to it and what we ended up doing. And one of the ways that I've been able to come to terms with some of my failures, come to terms with some of my successes, and it goes both ways. Not getting too arrogant and cocky that you're the reason it was successful, but also not getting too low that you're the reason it was failure. And it comes down to how you define and how you set your goals. And this goes for both you and for your team. And so if you're looking for yourself to be more productive, get more done, and feel more confident, but also have your team do the things that are necessary to grow your business, it comes down to this principle. And it is outcome goals versus process goals. And so let me define that and dive into it a little bit more. So an outcome goal is I need to hit X amount of revenue. Okay? And most people stop there. Okay? I need to make this amount of money. I need to weigh this amount on the scale. And once you hit it, you'll be happy, you'll be successful. The reality is that none of that is true. And there's a million different things that go into hitting that outcome goal. And so I need you to start looking at the processes that are related to hitting the outcomes that you want. Because outcomes aren't really goals. We think they are. And so we set a SMART goal and we go out and we say, okay, here's my outcome, here's the time, and it's measurable. But if you could kind of throw that out the window a little bit and say, okay, what are the processes, the daily, weekly, monthly things that need to be done to hit the outcome that we're looking for, you're going to find more success, be more productive, and you're going to be in flow so much more, right? So we talk about flow, kind of a foo-foo culture word, but there's some reality in it. We've all felt it. When you felt like you were just driving, you were going forward and everything was working, it comes because you're doing the daily things consistently that lead to these big, marvelous things happening. But they only happen because you did the process. So I need you to go look at the goals that you have. And I need you to clearly define them as if they're outcome or process. And I'm going to be a betting man today. And I'm going to put my life savings that the majority of you are going to have outcome goals and not process goals. So I want you to take that outcome and I want you to break it down as minutely as you can into the processes that it will take in order to make them happen. And the more you could break it down, the more you're going to see success. And that means going from our business, we do this, here's our yearly outcomes, quarterly outcomes, monthly outcomes, weekly outcomes, and daily outcomes. And then we outline the processes inside of our CRM on how we're going to be able to do that. Now, I can tell you I didn't always do this. And the reason that I'm yelling at you through the screen to do this is because the day I started doing this was the day I started to feel real momentum and not lose it day in, day out. Doesn't mean bad things didn't happen. Doesn't mean we didn't lose money here and there. Doesn't mean we hit sales outcomes every single time. But I knew that we were doing the things necessarily to reach the end goals that we were looking for. So, start with your outcome goals, break out the processes, and you've heard the term fall in love with the process. I think there's an NBA player, they even title him the process guy because he's like, I love the process. I love the process. I love practice. And the reality is, guys, when you fall in love with that process, success starts to come and you will have way more ups and downs, which I believe as an entrepreneur is actually the superpower of success. The best, most successful entrepreneurs that I know are the ones that manage that up and down and keep it consistently growing forward at it, even sometimes a snail's pace, but they never look back. And they're the ones that you look at and you're like, overnight success. They crushed it. I don't know where they came from. And it's because for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, they did the process day in and day out to get to where all of us really want to be. So that's the thing for today, guys. Go put it into play. I promise it'll make a big difference for you because it has for me.